Greetings! Welcome to Signature Scents. My name is Ryan, and today it has finally arrived, the vintage Old Spice Shulton formula. We're going to be looking a little bit at this background of this stuff. We're going to be giving it a nice proper smell test. Okay, so this Old Spice bottle, after doing some research, and I'll put a link in the description below where you can see a person has categorized the different bottle styles and what era and years they're from. So according to that research, and including pictures and documentation, this bottle is from between 1956 and 1967. After 1967, they dropped this paragraph on the back. Also, where it says here for men, I think this is in reverse, but you can still see for men. Apparently, this was also dropped in 1967 after that. And you can see the pictures on that website that I will post in the description. This is a full bottle. And Old Spice was started in 1938, and apparently there's a lot of debate about this, but according to research from these people, a different group, and this is in forums I was reading, that the original formula lasted from 1938 to 1990, and then from like 1990 to 1992, when Procter & Gamble first acquired it, there was some subtle changes, and then after 1992 to present day, apparently is when you have a lot of changes. What people are saying about this that has changed is, some people are actually saying that the original formula and the new formula are very, very different, and that some are even saying that Procter & Gamble don't actually have the original DNA of this stuff. There is some talk, a lot of talk actually I've been seeing, that there's the Old Spice being made in India. Somehow the India company still has the original recipe for the formula, and then that stuff is supposed to be better. You can also find vintage bottles online. I found this, I think, on Mercury. It wasn't Mercari, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and it wasn't very expensive. So let's give this a shot. I'm going to do some smelling out of the bottle. I have a sample piece of paper here. I'm also going to decant some and spray some on my body and give it a nice solid wear, and then report back to you guys. So let's just start out of the bottle. Now, you can tell this bottle's old. The top here is this metal stainless steel. It's almost like stainless steel or tin. I guess it's not stainless steel. It'd be like tin or pewter or something. It's just very reminiscent of something that's, older. The modern ones are all plastic. So out of the bottle, you can smell there's a lot of, I would say a lot of, but something that's very prominent is vanilla. It's like vanilla with a little bit of spice. It almost smells slightly gourmandish. Like a little bit of like it's creamy though. Like this could be a flavor almost of an ice cream. Like a creamy vanilla, slightly spice, like spice being like a cinnamony, maybe nutmeg. So that's nice. Let me go ahead and put some on some paper and see how the scent profile develops. Okay, nice big splotch there. Gonna go ahead and cap this stuff. Now, one of the things I was reading about this, and you can see by the bottle, that apparently this Old Spice keeps very well, and one of the reasons is because the way the bottle is designed, there's no light gets through. And apparently light is one of the biggest kind of oxidizers or ruiners of the fragrances. That's why I keep all of my fragrance in a drawer. Another tip is apparently it's ideal. There's two other things: is you don't want to expose it to air as much, obviously, and then also try to keep it from moving around the liquids. You want to try to keep it still. Just some tips I read. I don't know how accurate they are, but they do seem to make sense. And while this dries down, I want to share one more thing that I did hear about the Old Spice. Apparently Old Spice actually back in the day somewhat wasn't actually considered a very good fragrance. It apparently had a lot of hate, and it wasn't until the recent times in the new marketing boom of Old Spice with the commercials, the very kind of funny commercials with the deodorant and stuff, it kind of took off again. But my dad used to wear Old Spice. I don't think it was this original formula, but he did wear the Old Spice. I think it was 90s when I was smelling this stuff the first time. And I have to say, this stuff is different. So the Old Spice that I'm familiar with, and everyone's familiar with, if you go in the store, and I've smelled the recent aftershaves, you can smell the classic, it's called the classic scent on the deodorants as well. And it's got a more harsh, chemical, synthetic, It's very nice. It smells more like a body wash is kind of the way to describe it for me. It really is like a body wash deodorant kind of like smell. This stuff does not smell like that. This stuff is more subdued. It's more smooth slash creamy. There's a slight powderiness to it that's not talky powdery, but it's like a gentle kind of musky powder. And the main accords are that powderiness, which is painted by some vanilla or tonka bean or something of that same genre, which is rounded off with a little bit of spice. The spice is not like potpourri or potpourri spice. It's kind of gentle. This in general smells very gentle. It just smells very smooth. It doesn't smell like those chemical ones. There is a decent dose of floral in here that blends very nicely with the spice. The spice and the floral are kind of almost like one note, and that's mixing with this vanilla-ish kind of powdery musk. Okay, that's very, very nice. So I'm going to go ahead and spray this on my skin and see what my skin does with this. I have a skin type that would do very well with this type of scent. I do well with spicy stuff. So let's give this a shot. I'm going to spray some on my hand. And by the way, take a look at the juice. It's yellowish. Apparently this is another tell of the original Shulton formula, according to forums that I was reading. The original Shulton formula is yellowy, and the newer stuff is clear. And apparently the Shulton formula is also longer lasting and just in general a little bit more potent. Really nice shine. Ooh, wow. I'm immediately blasted in the air with vanilla. That was the first thing to hit my nose. Let me go ahead and spray some on. I'm also going to do a little bit under the shirt too. All right. So let me give you my initial reaction before I disappear and spend some time with it. Wow, very interesting. So this is the first time this stuff has hit my skin that I can recall. And what I'm getting right away is floral. Very interesting. I wasn't expecting this. The floral is in the sort of genre of jasmine, geranium, that kind of genre. It's very, very pleasant. It's not an in-your-face floral. It's a very smooth and sort of subdued floral. I can tell you right now, this is going to need to dry down. I also can tell you that I think the top notes, which is not hugely surprising, are not as what they used to be. I think the top notes originally were a little bit more like orange, citrusy. There's probably a little bit orange if I put my nose to it, but something tells me it's not like it used to be. But that's okay. Okay, it's starting to settle a little bit now. In fact, I am picking up a little bit orange as it settles. Yes, there's a nice like a slightly spicy orange. So this is really interesting. So I think I'm going to stop it here. What I'm getting immediate in summary off the skin right away is a floral. The floral is kind of what's being painted here. There's a little bit of orange on top. The powder musk is pushed way to the back. It's almost barely noticeable. You're getting it on the peripheral, on the last kind of what's being processed. And that's the gist of it. So I'm going to go ahead and spend some time with it, and I will check back in with you in a little bit. Okay, I am back, and I have some really awesome observations to share about this Old Spice. I'm going to share, including having gone to the store while wearing this and getting my nose on the classic or the original Old Spice made by Procter & Gamble. I had a chance to smell that while wearing this, so I have some comparisons and contrast notes on this. I'm going to share about the projection, what I'm getting in the air out of this. I'm going to share about the different dry down stages. I'm going to share about the circumstances that I think this is appropriate for, when to wear it, who could wear it, and then my final kind of take and summary conclusion on this stuff. So let me first talk about my interpretation or my experience of going to the store and smelling the Procter & Gamble, which I believe is called the original, which is their take on their modern formulation take on the vintage stuff. And to my nose, I have to say that these are two different scents. This is something, and then that is something else. Yes, they may share a very, very like distant cousin, but they are, make no mistake, they are two different fragrances according to my nose. Now, some other people may say something else. That's my observation. The one at the store, one of the things about it is so synthetic and chemically harsh that it literally burned my nose. When I put it up to my nose and smelled it, it burned. It was kind of the same experience of smelling a cleaner, some sort of cleaning solvent. It was very, very harsh. Outside of that harshness, it doesn't have the same feelings that are in this. This, for me, was so beautiful. It's also way beyond what I expected this to be. Just the case, same with Brut, the vintage Brut, also surprised me. This stuff also surprised me. So let's talk about the stages. The stages of how this dries down, I already explained the opening in the beginning of this video. Now after the opening, what happens is the floral takes kind of the center stage. The floral heart takes the center stage. It's kind of like a geranium carnation vibe, but it's not a flowery floral. The floral is rounded off with a spice, a sweet spice. There is a very prominent sweetness in this stuff. I was reading in the forums that in this original recipe, they were using saccharides, if I'm saying that correctly, as S-A-C-H, I believe. Saccharides or saccharides that give it that sweetness. And I'm just getting, as soon as I said that, I just got a huge waft out of the bottle. It really does smell like, especially out of the bottle, it smells like almost a flavor for a vanilla ice cream. Like that's what it smells like. This saccharides give this vanilla, powdery vanilla-ness a very, very pleasant, very satisfying sweetness that kind of supports and wraps around in the peripheral and the base of this floral sweetness at this stage of the drydown. That's right after the opening. Once that heart starts to come down and dry down further, and the stage where it's at now, which I believe is the final stage of this, the florals become subdued and the vanilla powder sweetness mixed with a little bit of with that spice is what you're getting. So in the air, now I will also say that the florals is really prominent when you smell it off of your skin, but in the air, even from that stage, you're getting primarily that sweet vanilla spiciness. The florals is when you get a little bit closer to it. And maybe in the beginning you're getting in the air, but it's not like a more floral. It is for a little bit, but then it does dry down to this vanilla spiciness. And this stuff projects very, very nicely for the first, well, even up until now. So it does start off, I would say, about an arm's length away, and then now it's smelling like it's about a good solid maybe 1 to 2 feet. Very nice scent bubble, and the style of this projection is really, really cool. It kind of lends to this, I would actually call this stuff elegant. There's an elegant classiness, more I would say elegant. It's not like a gentleman dapper sort of, something like a Portugal Dubois from Crete. It's not that. But there is an elegance to this, and that creaminess for me is what makes it elegant. In addition to that creaminess is the way that projects is, it's not overbearing. It's not like, hey, look at me. It's not that kind of sillage, but it's there, but it's not overbearing. It is a very charming sort of smell. It's sweet, it's playful, and I really, really like this stuff. This stuff for me puts me in this mode of the holidays. It really has that vibe about it. It's a great fall, winter scent. This is one of those scents, I keep getting these wafts of that vanilla, this very sweet vanilla. It's walking the line of gourmandish. I don't think it's gourmandish. I don't think it is a gourmand per se, but I do think it's definitely reaching out and touching that line of being a gourmand, especially out of the bottle. Not so much off the skin, but certainly out of the bottle. You might smell this and think, oh my gosh, this is like a milky vanilla ice cream type of smell. It's really, really nice. I think this stuff actually, especially in this stage of the dry down, makes for a very good date night scent because of that sweetness that it has to it. I will also say that for me, one of the reasons this stuff is so satisfying is because my normal wares are sort of in the genre of the green fougères, aromatic fougères, barbershop stuff. A lot of the stuff that I wear, like Polo Green, Bogart Signature, Givenchy Gentleman, and the Vintage Formulation, they don't have the sweetness to it. And so this, for me, really scratches that itch. And I'm very happy that I got this. I feel very fortunate that I was able to get this vintage bottle, which is full, which you can still find these today online. I think I got this off Mercari. You can find them on eBay. You can find them on Etsy. They're not that expensive. I was able to get this for a really good price. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it. I think it was somewhere in the ballpark of $30 to $40, give or take. And this is a full 4-ounce bottle. It's actually 4 3/4. It's almost 5 ounces. I think it was very well worth the money. In fact, I am strongly considering getting a backup bottle for this stuff, is how much I like it. Why I like it is because it's not overbearing. It doesn't, so what's interesting, let me just say this. This, although back in the day, is a drugstore, pharmacy scent you can pick up at any, one of those type of drugstores. It doesn't have that same vibe as it would today. This stuff, and according to the modern palate, this stuff could be sold as a designer fragrance, especially in this dry down stage of this sweet vanilla, almost gourmandish flavoring. I love the florals. I've come to learn that I really like those masculine floral scents, like the Brut is another one that I really love, the Vintage Brut, which also surprised me being a very floral dominated scent. This also has those vibes, but the floral, unlike Brut, it doesn't stick around to the end. This one really gives way, the florals give way to like that powdery vanilla-ish and cinnamon, which is kind of the main accord you're getting around this scent. So I really, really like it. I think that this scent may be a little bit mature up top with the florals, but definitely the dry down. This is one that a younger guy could pull off. This is a scent you want to wear on date nights. For me, I would. It's a scent that I want to wear cozied up next to the fire with a big blanket on. It's kind of got that very comforting smell to it. Something about it is very reminiscent for me about the holidays. It's just that very comfortable, very, very relaxed, almost, but there's an undercurrent of like a joy, an undercurrent of like a dopamine release. I think it comes from that sweetness is why it gives that kind of undercurrent of dopamine, if you will. Something about this stuff, it's very classy, it's very charming, it's very elegant, and the one word, that elegant word, is definitely something that I would use to describe that, and I think it comes from that creaminess. It comes from the creaminess, and it comes from the way that it projects. It's not harsh, it's not overbearing, it's just right. So I do recommend this stuff. I'm going to personally probably buy myself another bottle of this. Now, before I let you go, I want to share that in the drawer next to me, I have 2 homages from a house that I've come to really, really adore, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, the house that uses all naturals to create homages to vintage formulations, classic styles, and also originals and classic formulation styles. They have one called Fresco, which is their homage to the vintage Old Spice original recipe. They have one called Cool Spice, which is their homage to the Old Spice vintage fresh scent. I have both of the samples sitting in the drawer next to me, so in a video coming soon, I'm going to take both of them, I'm going to put them side by side, out of the bottle, off the paper, off the skin, and I'm going to see how close that stuff is, because that stuff is about $26 for 100 ml of the EDC. It's an aftershave EDC. It performs more like a cologne and borderline eau de toilette. They also have an EDP version of it. So look out for a video of that coming soon. I will do that as well. Finally, have you tried the vintage stuff? Do you plan on getting it? Leave me a comment below. I would love to hear what your thoughts are about this stuff, or if you plan on getting it. And if you have any questions and any comments in general, please leave them below. I would love to communicate with you. As always, make sure to waft kindness to others, or in this case, waft sweetness to others. God bless.